let's talk about all of the different ways there are to get money for your business. If you're just getting started in business or you need to grow your business, of course, you need money to do that. That's why we're going to cover 4 different options that are out there in order to get money for your business, to get things off the ground, or to hire employees, or to scale your marketing, get more inventory, whatever the case may be. So let's jump right into the first option, which is an option that a lot of you guys probably already know about, which is going to be using your own personal cash for the business. Now, this always seems like the most obvious option because it's usually the first thing that you can get your hands on, because more than likely, either you're getting some type of income from your job, or maybe you have some savings that you plan to use specifically for the purposes of getting your business started. And that could be in a savings, that could be in a 401k, or something like that. Now, the benefit of this is going to be that, of course, this is something that you more than likely immediately have access to if you have money saved, that is, and if you have enough freed up income coming in where you can afford to use that money for your business. Now, ultimately, this is going to be the least or the worst option for getting your business started, even though some people might have to use this option in order to get started with their business. Now, the reason why I'm saying it's the worst option is because with cash, the problem is once you use it, it's gone. And most people, when they're first getting started in business, they don't usually have experience in business prior to, or even if they have a business degree like I did, you don't have any hands-on experience in actually running a business. So with all of the pitfalls that can come, the mistakes that can be made, the bad deals that can happen, once that cash is gone, you might have depleted your savings. You might have used up all of the cash that you have, and now you still need to pay bills, or now you don't have any protection or nest egg sitting there like you used to have that you could use for other things. Or even worse, let's say you do get the business up and running, but you keep having to consistently put your cash into it because that's the only source of extra funds you have in your business isn't making enough money to self-sustain itself. These are all of the drawbacks to using your cash. And again, with the most major thing being that once the cash is gone, the cash is gone, and you have to have made some type of profit off of that cash in order for it to actually be beneficial for you. And a lot of people think using their cash is better than using credit because they're thinking that they don't want to actually get into debt and use any other debt vehicles like loans, credit cards, lines of credit, stuff like that, because they're more concerned about getting in debt. But you'll see as we go along some of these other options how actually using that is the better option because of how those options actually protect your cash. Now, the next option we're going to talk about is grants. Now, grants are really good because first off, they're not your money, they're not your cash, and they are free money that you can receive, and you can use that to put into your business. Now, this is an option that a lot of people try to go for, whether you're for profit or nonprofit. And if you can obtain some grants, that is really good because again, it's free money that you don't have to pay back. The problem is with grants, it's more so based off of you competing to be able to get that grant. Now there are, private grants, corporate grants, grants that, corporations put out there for people to apply to. There are state and government grants that might be geared towards, specific people groups or people in certain industries. And again, a lot of grants are going to be like competition style. You have to submit an essay, submit a video, you have to submit a plan that you have to implement. And again, these grants are usually geared towards specific things or specific reasons helping specific people. So not only do you have to meet the criteria, but you then also have to compete to see if you can get approved. Now, with this, I would say when getting started in business, it's a good idea to put your hat in the ring for a few grants. In order to increase your chances of getting approved for them, you do have to apply for quite a few. I would say like more than 7 or 10 grants just to try to ensure that you have your hat in more than one ring so that you might, come out with more than one or at least one because you applied for more than one. So if you're going to go the grant route, then make sure that you are putting your applications out there at a lot of different places that are geared towards you and your business and your industry. But this is not going to be an end all be all option. Again, if you're trying to get free money for your business, that's good to kind of help you get some things to maybe get started or maybe to initiate some additional growth within your business. But it's never going to be a super sustainable thing to do for most of your for-profit businesses, because with those types of businesses, you are in business to be making a profit so that your business can pay for itself so that you don't always have to rely on those grants. Now, again, you could still keep applying the whole time you're in business and try to get that free money. Nothing wrong with that. But ultimately, you're in business to be in business. So you should be trying to figure out how to run your business in a way to where it's self-sustainable and making enough revenue where you don't have to constantly be relying on free money to run your business. But some of you nonprofits, you guys might actually want to have more grants and consistently get grants to fund your operation. So it's a little bit different from the for-profits and the nonprofits. Now, the next option that we're going to talk about is using your personal credit. Now, using your personal credit is something that for a lot of business owners seems like a really good option. And it also might be the very best option at that time. But it is not the best long-term sustainable option as well. With this, maybe you're taking out personal loans or using your personal credit cards in order to get funds that you need to get your startup equipment or run the operations of your business. Now, while doing this can protect your, personal cash that you might have from your income and from your savings or your 401k. However, when you're using your personal credit for business purposes, a lot of times what is happening is you are using higher amounts of your credit. So maybe you weren't maxing out your cards before, but you probably will now because businesses usually require a lot of capital, a lot of funds in order to run and operate. So now when you're running your personal credit cards up to the max, you're also dropping your personal credit score. So that's not good for anybody. Now, it might be that right now, maybe you don't need to use your credit for anything. So maybe it's not so much of an issue as long as you can get what you need and pay it back and all of that. But, in some instances, you might have clientele that pays you in delayed time frame. So basically, it takes a longer time for you to receive a payment after you've done work. So now your credit card has to stay at a higher limit for a longer period of time until you get paid. And, let's say your car goes out. Let's say you need some HVAC work at your house. Let's say you need to put in a new roof and you need to get a loan for that. Any instance that pops up where maybe now you suddenly need to use your credit for something, well, now your credit score is a lot lower because of your utilization, and you have to wait some time before you can actually get the money to pay off that card. And now there are some delays or some inconveniences that are put on you in your personal life because your credit is being weighed down from business operations. And now this is why it's going to be very helpful to be able to separate your personal finances from your business finances to ensure business growth without hurting you personally. And now we're going to talk about the fourth option, which is business credit. And there are three different sections within this. So now business credit is going to be any credit you can obtain in the business's name. It can be a loan, a line of credit, or a business credit card. Business credit separates your personal finances from your business finances. So now everything that is in the business's name or that the business needs to pay for can be paid for using this business credit versus using your personal credit. And again, the benefit of using credit in the first place is because it helps you to protect your cash. So instead of, let's say you have to buy a house, right, for your business, and let's say you have to spend, let's just say $20,000 for the house, and you have $20,000 in cash. Well, you can take your $20,000 in cash and buy that house, and then you would be waiting to turn a profit on this house. Let's say part of your business is just fixing and flipping them. You have to wait some time before you can actually get that money to come in. So now you're out of the $20,000 in cash that you have. You got started in business, and let's say things don't go according to plan. The house takes longer than it should to sell. Well, now you've held on to that house and you don't have any cash, and let an emergency come up, and now you don't have any cash to cover those emergencies or just take care of the daily things that you might have going on that you need to take care of. And meanwhile, that house is still, having some expenses that you have to take care of. Maybe you have to fix up some things and now you don't have the cash for it because you used up all of your cash. Or it could be something else. Let's say you need to spend $10,000 on some equipment to start selling e-commerce, and all you have is $10,000. Well, you can use your $10,000 to pay for that equipment, but let's say things don't sell like you thought they would. Let's say there are some additional costs that came up that were unexpected in regards to getting these things sold. Like maybe you need to hire a marketing team to go ahead and get the marketing done for you and run ads for you or something like that. Well, now you've already used up all your cash. You still haven't made any profit and you still have some expenses on the business side. So now using something like business credit is where you start to see benefit because now you can hold on to your 20,000 in cash for the house or your 10,000 in cash for the e-commerce. You can keep that in your pocket and you can use a $20,000 business credit card or a $10,000 business credit card. You can pay for what you need for the business. And instead of having your 20,000 or 10,000 gone, now maybe you have a $200 payment that you have to make or a $100 payment respectively that you have to make until you start to see that profit. And if anything went wrong, now you still have the cash that you have on hand to pay that off if need be, but more than likely you can just make that small monthly payment until you actually start to see a profit. And this is where a lot of business owners mess up in the beginning, thinking that the best route is to use their cash when they should be using credit in order to cover their expenses, make minimal payments until they start to see those profits, and then they can start to use those profits to pay off the card and still hold on to their cash. Now, if you need help in trying to secure some business credit for your business, make sure you go down to the link in the description and book a strategy session with me where I can look at your situation and see what I can do to help you secure some funds for your business so that you don't have to use your personal cash and your personal credit to run your business and your business can be self-sustainable without you hurting your personal credit score or draining your savings and bank accounts. And also, if you've been liking this video so far, make sure you give it a thumbs up so YouTube can know this is a good video to show to others looking for this same information. Now let's get into the different forms of business credit that you can try to get. Now, one of those is going to be vendor credit, right? So you may have heard of the tiers they're going to building up your business credit profile. And this will be you using net 30 accounts or net 60 accounts to try to build up your business credit, but also giving you access to basically kind of like a buy now, pay later situation. You're sort of using credit, vendor credit that is, in order to get some things that you need for your business. Now, this can be a good way to get some things started. Like you've probably already heard of Quill, where you can get office supplies, different electronics and things like that for your business, for your office. So, some of those things are a smaller or a lower level form of getting credit and getting things for your business. Ultimately, that way is not the fastest or the best method for getting funds that you need for general usage in your business, but it is a way that you can get some things for your business. Now, the next version of this business credit that you can try to obtain is going to be PG, personal guarantee business credit. Now, with this, you are personally guaranteeing the debt. So if the business does not pay, that means you are saying that you will actually cover the payment that is due for whatever this form of credit is that you get for the business. So like you're the business's co-signer. Now with this, usually in almost all instances, this will not report to your personal credit, just like the vendor credit. It won't report to your personal credit. It'll solely report to the business's credit profile, but you are leveraging your good personal credit in order to get access to money that is more freely available for you to use anywhere. And you can do this in the form of a loan, in the form of a business credit card, in the form of a line of credit. These are different products that you can use this personal guarantee version of business credit in order to get some money for your business. And now there's also corporate credit, which is what a lot of you guys are really trying to get to. Now, corporate credit is where it's not using you and your credit as a personal guarantee. It is where you are solely using your business's credit profile and score to get credit for your business. Now, this is again what most people want to get to because some people might have issues with the credit and some people just don't want anything to be tied to them personally for the business. They just want to have everything under business name. Now, what most people don't tell you about this, because they just sell you a pipe dream, what they don't tell you about this is that basically how it's going to work is they want you to have built up a good credit profile. A lot of people try to use those vendor accounts, those net 30 accounts in order to do this, but that's really not enough. You still have to have millions in revenue coming in and proof of that revenue in order to get corporate credit. Because y'all have to understand, the banks, the lenders, they're not stupid. They know if you just bought some small items, $50 here and there for a few months, that doesn't equate to you being able to get large amounts of money. They shouldn't, the risk is still there for them on giving you a whole bunch of money if you can't prove anything, and then they don't have a personal guarantee from you. So it's like, who's going to be liable for this money? It's like they'll never get paid, and they know that. So that is why it is not as easy as people make it seem to get this corporate credit. And in some instances, you have to have a certain amount of money in your bank account, and in the higher amounts, like above 50,000 or whatnot for some different lenders. So it can get real sticky, and a lot of people don't qualify at the beginning usually to get corporate credit, but it is the most ideal and is a place to strive to where you want to get to. Now, out of all of these options, the very best option is going to be the PG option, the personal guarantee option, because it allows you to leverage everything that you've done to build up your good credit to be able to get larger amounts of money for your business a lot faster than building up those vendor accounts and waiting till you have millions of revenue coming in to get that corporate credit. Instead of having to compete for grants, you just know you have the credit that you have, and you can just go in and get what you need without having to compete with anybody else. And you don't have to tie up your personal cash, your personal credit cards, or your personal credit into the daily operations of your business. So ultimately, that is going to be the best way to go about it. And when I take my clients through the process of getting funds for their business, that's what we always use the personal guarantee options on business credit cards, because they offer the most flexibility and the most options and the most benefits in regards to getting higher amounts of money and a lot of flexibility. Now, if you didn't know, just having a 750, 720, or even an 800 credit score is not enough to obtain this credit, even with the personal guarantee. There are a lot of other things that go into it. And if you want to know exactly what you do need to have in place outside of a good credit score so that you don't get denied or get low limits thinking that your personal credit score is going to be the only thing that you need to have, go check out this video to learn what you need beyond your 700 plus credit score. Or maybe you want to know how long you have to be in business before you can start getting some of these different types of funding. And if that's the case, go ahead and check out this video. And I'll see you in the next one.